John Hubert Highnote was identified as the gunman who ambushed two Gilchrist County Sheriff's deputies in Trenton, Florida, shooting them to death as they sat inside a Chinese restaurant and ate a meal. The shooter, found deceased from a gunshot wound by responders outside the business nearby, has been identified as John Hubert Highnote, 59, of Bell, the Sheriff's Department reported. The department did not release further details of the gunman. Online records show him with a series of addresses throughout Florida over the years, including Clearwater, Daytona Beach, the Tampa Bay area, and St. Petersburg. Authorities now say that they think Highnote went inside the restaurant and ambushed and shot the two deputies as they ate, a Gilchrist County Sheriff's spokesman told Heavy. Previously, the Gilchrist County Sheriff's Department had told the news media that Highnote fired through the restaurant's window, striking the deputies, but further investigation clarified that information. The slain deputies were previously identified by the emotional sheriff as sergeant and deputy. Sheriff Bobby Schultz remembered the two men as the best of the best and called them men of integrity and loyalty. Officials have not yet released the motive for the ambush, but the deputies were simply sitting inside the Chinese restaurant and eating a meal when the bullets came through the window. The suspect was dead at the scene. It appears he just walked up and shot them, then went to his car and shot himself. It's inexplicable. People will want to know why, and we may never have an answer for them, Bill Servin, a state attorney, told the Gainesville Sun. The sheriff's spokesman told Heavy that, no matter the shooter's motive, there's zero rationale for murdering two deputies. In that way, the reason doesn't bear much relevance. Here's what you need to know. 1. The double shooting occurred in Trenton, Florida. The sheriff's department has described a stone-cold ambush in which the two law enforcement officers were simply eating a meal in the middle of the afternoon at a local Chinese restaurant. Both our heroes had simply sat down to eat while on duty. There was no crime in progress, no disturbance. The suspect appears to have walked to the front of the business and shot both men without warning. Two holes in the window are visible tonight, the sheriff's department said in a release. They now believe, however, that he walked inside the restaurant and targeted the deputies there. Ramirez was 30 and Lindsay was 25, Gilchrist County Sheriff Bobby Schultz said at a press conference. Many details about the shooting have not been released because of the ongoing investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. The shooting unfolded at 3 p.m. in the afternoon of April 19, 2018. At approximately 3 p.m. this afternoon, 2 Gilchrist County deputy sheriffs were shot and killed in the Ace China restaurant in downtown Trenton, the press release stated. The department announced on Twitter, Gilchrist County Sheriff's Office has suffered a terrible tragedy. Please avoid the area of SR 26 from the red light to the area of subway. No suspects are at large. Further updates will be posted later. The sheriff's department indicated that a motive was not yet known. At this point, it remains an active criminal investigation with no apparent motive or indications as to why this tragedy occurred, the press release revealed. Sheriff Bobby Schultz was on scene throughout the afternoon with his deputies and their families, notifying additional loved ones, the department reported. Officials from the Levy County Sheriff's Office, the Alachua County Sheriff's Office, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the State Attorney's Office have all responded to the area to assist, the release continued. John Hubert has a criminal history in Pinellas County, Florida, but it was an old one. In 1994, he was accused of misdemeanor criminal mischief, but the case was dismissed the following year. In 1978, he was accused of felony carrying a concealed weapon, but the charge was also dismissed. He did have a slew of somewhat more recent traffic offenses in that county, but the most recent is 2001. He had only one offense listed in Gilchrist County court records, which is where his hometown of Bell is located. It was for improper turn in 2012. Among the other minor Pinellas County offenses, improper operation of a motorcycle, unlawful speed, running a stop sign and the like. He had a 1977 municipal ordinance violation for drinking alcohol on a public street. A bank sued him in small claims court in 1991. Gilchrist County has not released a photo of Highnote. Heavy has contacted Pinellas County to see if an old mugshot of him is available and will post the photo if it's obtained. He appears to have no obvious social media presence. He was described in the court records as a white male who stood 5'83" and weighed 126 pounds. Highnote also had a weapons permit that expired in 2010 in Volusia County, online records show. He also previously had hunting permits in Florida. He doesn't come up as currently registered to vote in Florida. Property records show him with a P.O. box in Belen property valued at just under $100,000. In contrast, the two deputies were lauded by the sheriff for their character. They were God-fearing, and they loved what they did and were very proud of it, the emotional sheriff said of Ramirez and Lindsay. I loved them, and they were loved, and I met with the families today and told them they can be proud of those men. They can be proud, and I'm proud to have been their sheriff. What do you expect happens when you demonize law enforcement to the extent it's been demonized? Every type of hate, every type of put-down you can think of, the only thing these men were guilty about was protecting you and me. They just wanted to get something to eat and to do their jobs, he added. He said the slayings hit him like a ton of bricks. A friend of Lindy's echoed the sheriff's sentiment. This is too close to home. A coward walked in and murdered a true friend of mine while he was eating. I love you, brother, he wrote. 3. A woman sought a domestic restraining order against John Hubert years ago. In one disturbing account, a woman sought a domestic violence injunction against John Hubert in Pinellas County in 1993, court records show. Heavy interviewed that woman, but is withholding her name because she was the victim in the case. The woman stated she was not sure whether the John Hubert who harassed her was the same John Hubert who shot the deputies. However, the St. Petersburg police confirmed that the date of birth of the John Hubert who shot the deputies matches the date of birth of the John Hubert tied to the victim in the harassment case. There is one other John Hubert in Florida who comes up in records databases, but he is younger and has a different job. The woman told Heavy that she went on a dinner date with Highnote and decided she preferred to be his friend. However, once he decided something, he wouldn't let it go, she said. You couldn't get rid of him. She said that Highnote launched a frightening campaign of stalking and harassment against her that went on for weeks. He would show up at her house and scrawl nasty comments in magic marker on her front door. I'd get in my car and look in the rear view mirror and there he would be, she said. He would come by, knock on my door, right on my door, and harass me like that. She said the situation escalated to the degree she repeatedly called the police and even scattered thumbtacks on her driveway. The next time his car pulled in, he ended up with a flat tire, she said. She said he was supposed to marry someone else, but the woman had changed her mind and backed out of the relationship. He followed me everywhere, said the woman. If I wanted to go out someplace, I was afraid to. The woman said she had no contact with Highnote since the time. At the time of the harassment, she described him as working in an auto supply store and living in an apartment in St. Petersburg, Florida. She provided a partial address and age range that matched those attached to the shooter in database records. She stated that Highnote had a drinking problem. "It was nerve-wracking," she said. "It scared me. He would come to my house in the middle of the night and knock on the door. He drank a lot of beer." She never saw him with weapons, though. Highnote is now dead following the shooting of the 2 deputies. The shooter was dead at the scene, although details of how his death unfolded were not yet released. As fellow deputies responded to the scene, they found the shooter deceased outside the business, and both deputy sheriffs, where they died of their wounds, continued the release. It's not yet been released whether the wounds to the shooter were self-inflicted. The governor and attorney general pledged any support necessary to help Gilchrist County as news of the attack unfolded. Trenton is located in North Florida, somewhat close to Gainesville. NEWS4 Jax reported through sources, though, that the shooter killed himself in his car after murdering the 2 deputies. On the morning after the shootings, the sheriff told the community, "The senseless act committed by this coward has shaken each of us, but we will endure." "I ask each of you to be patient as we grieve with each of you." 4. Ramirez and Lindsay were remembered as men of integrity who died protecting the community. Each deputy's page shows a vibrant life surrounded by loved ones. The page of Sergeant Ramirez shows an officer devoted to family. His most recent public post is a video of a small child on stage that he captions "Speech at Levy County Fair Pageant." Number Love Chicken. Another photo showed him kissing a small child who was wearing a costume. According to the sheriff, Ramirez was married with kids and Lindsay left behind a girlfriend. In 2015, Noel wrote, "I'm a daddy again. My daughter, she was born today 5/7/15 at 3:02 p.m. Weight 6 pounds and 11 ounces, and is 203 tall. Thanks you God for this miracle." In love with my little princess. Ramirez previously worked at another sheriff's office and police department. He was promoted to sergeant about a year ago and had worked with the Gilchrist County Sheriff's Department for 2 years, the sheriff said. "If you've ever seen Sergeant Ramirez smile, infectious," the sheriff said. In 2013, he posted about the birth of a namesake son. "My little miracle. Baby Lito, the third was born on 10/29/13 at 0718 hours. Baby Lito weight was 6. 5 pounds and height 19.5 inches, he wrote. I want to thank God, because without him this miracle wouldn't happen. I want to thank Gigi for giving me the best gift in the world, love you boo. I want to thank everyone, family, friend, etc., for all her prayers and good wishes. It just doesn't seem real. I was just talking to you today at the store, and you were happy to be moving back to Trenton. I didn't once think that would be our last conversation. There really are no words. Rest easy. Taylor and Noel wrote one on Lindsay's page. Another friend wrote on Lindsay's page, I will miss my buddy, he was a good guy. I feel like he is gonna text me and tell me he is okay. This doesn't seem real at all. Another friend of Lindsay's wrote, praying for you and your family tonight. You threw the best tacky sweater Christmas party every Christmas break. We're one of the kindest people I knew. Another friend called Lindsay such a sweet soul and wrote, just when I thought this day could get no worse, I have absolutely no words. No one should have to die doing what they love. No one should have to worry about their safety going to work or coming home from work. Especially someone like this man. I'm so lucky to have grown up with such a sweet soul, but gone way too soon. What is this country coming to? I am in shock. Is one of the sweetest souls. He did not deserve this. He is a hero and will not be forgotten ever. Lindsay had left the Gilchrist County Sheriff's Department and then recently came back, the sheriff said. He loved doing drug interdiction and serving people, the sheriff added. According to his page, Lindsay studied at Santa Fe College, Kirkpatrick Center Institute of Public Safety, went to Gainesville High School, lived in Gainesville, Florida, and was single. President Donald Trump called the slain men heroes, and there were other ambush attacks on law enforcement officers in recent years. The president quickly weighed in with a tweet, calling the slain officers heroic. My thoughts, prayers and condolences are with the families, friends and colleagues of the two ex-Florida deputies, heroes, who lost their lives in the line of duty today, President Donald Trump wrote on Twitter. The summer of 2016 saw other ambush-style attacks against police officers from two different agencies unfold. Five police officers were slain by a sniper in July 2016. That attack came at the end of a protest against police shootings. That same summer, Gavin Long murdered 3 police officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The military veteran who killed 3 law enforcement officers in Baton Rouge last summer left behind a suicide note, a prayer from an Islamic holy book, and an online trail of his rage against police, reported Kansas City. home of that attack. As noted, however, it's not yet clear what inspired the attack in Trenton. This article will be updated as more information is learned about John Hubert Highnote.